The restaurant was warm, bright, and filled with quiet laughter. But at the corner table near the window, a woman sat with tears silently streaming down her face. No one noticed, except the poor single dad sitting 3 tables away. He had come there for a blind date he almost didn't attend, wearing the only clean shirt he owned, hoping for a small moment of normal life after years of struggle. But the moment he saw the woman wiping her tears while pretending to read the menu, something inside him shifted. Something told him this night was about to change more than just dinner plans. Before we continue this emotional story, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes kindness still matters, and subscribe to the channel if you believe that one small act of compassion can change a life forever. Daniel Carter never imagined he would be sitting in a restaurant like this again. 3 years earlier, his life had been completely different. He had a steady job repairing electrical equipment at a factory, a small rented home, and a wife who laughed easily and filled their kitchen with music while cooking dinner. Then the accident happened. One rainy evening, a careless driver ran a red light and changed Daniel's life forever. His wife, Emma, didn't survive the crash. In a single night, Daniel became both mother and father to their 2-year-old daughter, Lily. Grief came like a storm he couldn't escape. But bills didn't stop, and a child still needed food, warmth, and love. Daniel worked every job he could find, fixing appliances, delivering packages, cleaning garages, anything that would keep the lights on and milk in Lily's cup. There were nights he went to sleep hungry so she wouldn't have to. There were mornings he woke up before sunrise to make pancakes shaped like little stars, just to see her smile. But loneliness was the one thing he couldn't fix with his hands. So when his older sister insisted he try a blind date she arranged, Daniel resisted at first. He felt awkward even thinking about it. Dating felt like something people with stable lives did, people who weren't constantly counting coins before buying groceries. Still, after months of pressure and gentle encouragement, he agreed. That was how he ended up in that restaurant. His date hadn't arrived yet, and Daniel sat quietly, nervously folding and unfolding the napkin in his hands. The restaurant was far nicer than anywhere he normally visited. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting soft golden light across polished tables. Waiters moved gracefully between guests carrying plates that looked too beautiful to eat. Daniel felt slightly out of place in his worn shoes and simple clothes. Then he noticed her. At the corner table sat a young woman dressed elegantly in a soft blue dress. From the outside, she looked like someone who belonged in places like this, confident, graceful, composed, but her eyes told another story. She kept glancing toward the entrance, then quickly wiping tears before anyone could notice. Daniel tried to ignore it at first. It wasn't his business. Everyone carried their own struggles, and strangers rarely wanted interference from someone like him. But the longer he watched, the harder it became to pretend he hadn't seen. After nearly 20 minutes, the waiter approached the woman's table, speaking gently before handing her something. A phone. Daniel saw her read a message. Then her shoulders collapsed. More tears came. The waiter awkwardly stepped away as she sat there alone, quietly crying in the middle of a crowded restaurant that somehow still felt empty around her. Daniel looked down at his hands. He remembered nights sitting alone in his kitchen after Lily had fallen asleep, staring at the empty chair where Emma used to sit. He remembered the silence that followed heartbreak, the strange feeling of being surrounded by people yet completely invisible. Finally, he stood up. His heart beat nervously as he walked toward her table. He wasn't sure what he would say. He just knew he couldn't sit there and do nothing. When he reached the table, the woman quickly wiped her face, embarrassed. Daniel gently cleared his throat and asked if the seat across from her was taken. She hesitated before softly shaking her head. Daniel sat down slowly, careful not to make her feel pressured. He introduced himself quietly and explained that he had noticed she seemed upset and simply wanted to make sure she was okay. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of brushing him off or pretending everything was fine, the woman let out a small, tired laugh through her tears. She explained that she had also come for a blind date, but unlike Daniel's situation, her date had never planned to show up. The message on her phone had been brutally simple. He had changed his mind after seeing a photo of her and decided she wasn't what he expected. Daniel felt anger rise in his chest, not because he knew her, but because he knew how easily people dismissed others without understanding their stories. As she spoke more, Daniel learned that her name was Sophia. She had spent most of her adult life caring for her younger brother after their parents passed away. While other people built careers or traveled the world, Sophia worked 2 jobs to keep her brother in school and make sure he had opportunities she never did. Now her brother had graduated and moved away for work. For the first time in years, Sophia had tried to focus on her own life. This blind date had been her first attempt at stepping forward, and it ended before it even began. Daniel listened quietly, feeling something strange grow in his chest, not pity, but recognition. The quiet resilience in Sophia's story reminded him of his own journey through loss and responsibility. Eventually, he smiled gently and said something simple. Since both of them had been abandoned by their dates, maybe they could just share dinner as 2 strangers who understood disappointment. Sophia hesitated. Then she laughed again, this time genuinely. They ordered the cheapest items on the menu, though neither admitted they were watching prices carefully. Conversation started slowly, but soon something remarkable happened. The awkwardness faded. Sophia told stories about raising her brother and the small victories that had kept her going. Daniel spoke about Lily and how her laughter had pulled him through the darkest days of his life. Hours passed without them noticing. For the first time in years, Daniel felt the heavy weight of loneliness lift from his shoulders. Sophia felt it too. By the end of the evening, the restaurant was nearly empty. Chairs were being stacked, and the staff began preparing to close. Daniel nervously admitted he had to leave soon because Lily was waiting with a babysitter at home. Sophia's eyes softened when he spoke about his daughter. Before leaving, Daniel did something he hadn't done since Emma died. He asked if Sophia would like to meet Lily someday at the park. Not as a romantic promise, just as 2 people who had discovered something rare in each other's company. Sophia didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked out the restaurant window for a long moment. Then she turned back with a quiet smile that seemed to carry hope for the first time all evening. She said yes. Weeks passed, then months. Sophia slowly became part of Daniel and Lily's small world. She never tried to replace the past, and Daniel never rushed the future. They simply supported each other in the quiet ways that mattered most. Sophia helped Lily with school projects and bedtime stories. Daniel fixed things around Sophia's small apartment that had been broken for years. They laughed more, healed more, and slowly, almost without realizing it, they built something stronger than either of them had expected, all because one man couldn't ignore a stranger's tears in a crowded restaurant. Before we reach the end of this story, tell us in the comments, do you believe small acts of kindness can truly change someone's life? 2 years later, Daniel stood once again inside that same restaurant. But this time, everything was different. Sophia sat across from him, not crying, but smiling with the same warmth that had slowly filled their lives with light. Lily, now 5 years old, sat between them, happily coloring on the back of a menu. Daniel reached into his pocket and placed a small ring box on the table. Sophia's eyes filled with tears again. But this time they were tears of joy, because sometimes the most beautiful beginnings come from moments of heartbreak. And sometimes the person meant to change your life isn't the one you were waiting for, but the one who simply refused to walk away when you needed someone most. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like the video, share it with someone who believes kindness still matters, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us how powerful compassion can truly be. Because somewhere out there, one small act of kindness might be the beginning of someone else's forever.